You can.
Okay, so my project was called Saving Children One Ace at a Time. That was the name of my tennis tournament, which I held on August 21st. We had 40 participants, which is 20 doubles teams, and we had raffles and silent auctions. People donated a lot to the cause. Like, the admission fee was $10, and people would come in with $100 checks and just give them to me, and then also they would put more money in on like silent raffles and stuff. And so, as many of you know, in 2013, I broke my back, and so at first we went to Concord Hospital, and they kept saying that like nothing was broken, and they couldn't see it because backs are hard to diagnose sometimes, and that I could continue going to the gym as tolerated. And so, after about a month, I started to lose feeling in one of my legs, and so I had a hard time walking, and I actually went to Cliff because we were in best class, and I fell down one day because I couldn't feel my leg, and he referred me to Boston Children's Hospital, where I met with my spinal surgeon, and at first when I went there, I was really nervous because I walked in and there were all these kids with cancer playing in the lobby, and I was like, why am I here? Like, my injury is such, like, so little compared to what they deal with every day. Like, they're there for, like, months at a time, and I'm there because I hurt my back. Like, it just seemed like I was wasting their time almost, and so after I met with the staff, I really felt welcome there, and it was almost inspiring to go there every time, because not only was the building is all colorful and everything is built for, you can tell it's for children, like there are fish tanks around every corner, which they call built-in distractions to help us so that we're not as nervous for our appointments. And the staff is always coming around, they always have therapy dogs. They actually come around with little baseball cards with pictures of dogs, and you can choose a dog that you want to come to your room, which is really fun. And they have clowns that come and visit, and so I had a therapy dog before my my shots in my back, which I had to go under for, so it was not surgery, but it was kind of close. So when I began thinking about senior seminar, all I could think about was how I might be able to help the hospital. I didn't know if I was going to donate something or volunteer. So I looked into volunteering, and you have to sign up for a whole entire year, the same hours every single week, which obviously I can't do because we live way too far away to go down there every week. So I chose to host a tennis tournament to raise money, and we ended up raising $1,500 throughout the day, and that's not including family members of mine who have heard about it and just sent me money, which I'll have to get to her. So I think we're closer to 2,000 now, which is actually amazing. I did not think we would get that much. This is a picture of my back. Okay, so each year, these are just some of the statistics of what the donations go toward at Boston Children's Hospital. So they celebrate 1,000 birthdays each year, which is just one of the ways they try to make people feel more at home. They have 2,000 pet therapy visits, 50,000 worth of stickers, crayons, and balloons and stuff. And then the list just goes on. They pay for parking. They'll help with housing if people can't afford it, because a lot of families come from far away and they don't know they're going to stay for that long, because nobody expects to stay at a children's hospital for a long amount of time. And so the goals that are up there, like the money that they need, is only met with the help and support of others, which is called like the behind-the-scenes work. Through donations, sponsorships, and fundraisers, Boston Children's raises millions per year. While my project's outcome doesn't seem like it even made a dent in their big figure throughout the year, I was assured that the money would go to somewhere to help the families. We had leftover t-shirts, and we donated them to the hospital, and they're going to a family who can't afford new clothes for their kids, who have all grown since one of their siblings has been in the hospital, which I think is really cool. So when I contacted Boston Children's to inform them that I was doing the project, I was paired up with Shannon Archer, who was my representative, and at first I was a little timid to talk to her because I felt like my project might have wasted her time. I didn't know what she was doing, and I didn't know if she had like a bigger role in the hospital, like if she had other things she had to be doing, and I felt like a little tennis tournament from New Hampshire was gonna just not help too much. But she was there to answer all the questions I had, and she met with me a couple of times, and she made me feel very welcomed at the hospital. She gave me a tour almost every time we went because it was under construction, so it was changing every time. I met a bunch of people at the hospital. We had a big check presentation, which was fun. That was 2 days ago. And looking back, I understand how ridiculous these fears sound, like thinking that raising money is not going to help because it's only $1,000, but that's $1,000 that some families just can't afford. That can help with housing and everything. So not only did I have to contact her, but I had to ask for sponsorships and help to set up with the tournament, and I had to contact people to play in the tournament. And all I could think of were phone calls and meetings I was going to have to make leading up to the event, and I was terrified of what each business manager or owner was going to think of what I had to say. Communication is something that I've always strived to work at, whether it's a business meeting or just a personal conversation. Throughout this project, any interactions and connections I've made, I feel more confident talking to people, and I realize that most people are there to help you, and if they can't, the worst they can say is no. So you might as well ask, because there's a lot of things people can do for you that you don't realize that they are willing to do. For my research paper, I researched the physician-patient interaction, which is all about communication between the family members and the patients and the healthcare industry. All the healthcare professionals, it seems like they can sometimes talk on a different level as you, and they're not on the same page as you. Like when a doctor comes in, they just kind of ramble, and you just like, okay, so what's wrong? It's sometimes good to have people come in, and sometimes that's the nurse's job to come in and explain and like simplify what's going on. But it can sometimes be intimidating to talk to them. So the bottom line in productive medical care is effective communication between the patient or caretaker and the doctor. If both aren't on the same page, not much will be accomplished, which seems kind of simple to think about, but some people have a really hard time talking because they feel like a disconnect between the doctors and the patients. So for my sponsorships, I had to contact Mr. Kaufman, House Myers, the janitor to ask for tables, and then I got sponsorships from Below Ghost, TGI Fridays, Constantly, and Dose, and overall I contacted 100 participants. But at the beginning of this project, I can see how much I grew because I was even afraid to like ask Lavaz to be my mentor or to talk to Dr. Ko. I just was really afraid of like saying my ideas, but now I realize that they're there to help you, and even if you are afraid, you shouldn't be, because people are there to help and they're there to welcome your ideas. So to recap for this project, not only did I raise money for what I think is a great cause, and host this tennis tournament, which I thought was just going to be a little tournament, and ended up being much more than I expected. But I learned that people are willing to help if you ask. The worst thing they can say is no, and most everyone is going to help in one way or another, and communication really is key. And so that was 2 days ago when I got to go to Boston and present the big check.